For the people that don't know me, my name's Eddie G. I'm an employability coach at Blackpool Fire College. Been here 15 years, and my job is or the job I like doing is working with young people. The reason why I like working with young people is because I get a lot of information from you, okay, of how you're thinking, how you're feeling, your life in college, any problems that you might have in or outside college. Okay, that's one of the jobs that we do as a team, and I've got the other employability coaches here as well. The purpose of today is the fact that I think that if you're not aware of it, there's a lot of media about knife crime and young people who, rightly or wrongly, depending on how you want to look at it, carry knives to protect themselves, and that's in inverted commas. The reason why you're here is because I feel that as adults, and maybe the government, they don't listen to young people. What they do, they get adults to try and solve your problems without even asking you, do you want it? Or, what can we do to help you? One of the main things that we try and do at Blackpool Fire College is to keep you safe. And that's the reasons why we've got you here, to find out what it's like, what you actually do. When you're outside college, you've got an opportunity to air your opinions and your views and ask questions. And your questions are absolutely vital, okay, to how we, as staff at the college, and these professional people sat in front of us, will hopefully deal with any issues that you may have. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to invite you to meet, okay, these people that have come here especially for you, okay, for you to ask them questions, okay. First of all, we've got Warren Jones from Blackpool Police. Also got Chris as well. We've got Michael as the next offender. We've got Lauren, we've got Byron, and we've got David, okay? So I'm going to stand to one side. You get your microphones, guys. And each of them are going to give you a brief message or just tell you what they do and the situation and why they're here, okay? So we'll start off with Michael. Oh, sorry, Warren. Start with Warren.
Morning everybody, thanks for having us today. My name's Warren Jones. I'm a police sergeant at Blackpool Police Station. Albeit I'm in uniform today, my background is generally in CID, so dealing with serious violence, knife crime, sexual offences generally. For the last year, or for 10 months roughly, I've been working on preventative measures in relation to knife crime across Lancashire, so all the way from Morecambe, bordering Preston. The purpose of that is to try and get that message out there and to try and educate, in particular the kids from about age 12 upwards, into the consequences of knife crime.
Good morning, I'm Chris Ashworth. I'm a retired police officer. I've been retired 17 months. I've come back to Lancashire Police as an assistant investigator. I work alongside Warren. We tend to go to a lot of schools, colleges to give talks to pupils about knife crime and to hopefully reduce crime.
I'm Michael, this is Lauren, we're from the MAC group. We're both ex-offenders. We do stuff like come into colleges, schools, and educate people about the reality of prison and what led us up to that basically.
Hey everyone, I'm Byron from the Safety Guide Foundation. I created an over 18s talk called the JJ Effect, dedicated to my brother called John Joe. He was stabbed on 2 separate occasions on the streets where we grew up. The first time he survived 24 machete knife crime wounds. I was in the ambulance, so I watched him die, being resuscitated, stuff like that. To then hear him a couple months down the line to say that he don't want to be in a gang no more. He wants to change his life because the pain and the fear of dying obviously scared him. So he did. And then 2 weeks after his 18th birthday, some of his old friends, so you need to choose your friends wisely, did something wrong. The gang came looking for that person, and because they found my brother and not them, they stabbed him to death with a sword in the neck and he died. So my work's all dedicated to him.
Morning, my name's Dave. I'm the sector manager for North West Ambulance Service, so I cover what is West Lancs, which is from Skelmersdale through to Fleetwood. I've been on this service now 32 years. I'm here today really just to support this. We did do, and some of you may have seen an initiative we did probably back in 2005, which was Be Sharp, Stay Sharp, where we went to every school in Lancashire and talked about knife crime and the effects. It was with myself, other colleagues and armed response officers, kind of giving you an insight of what happens. I suppose I'm here today to answer any questions regarding kind of the ambulance aid side of it. We've got the effects that we see of people that have been stabbed and family, and we just talked about before about it's not necessarily the person that's been stabbed, but we see the after effects of the family when we meet in the hospital, and that lives with us for the rest of our lives. People always ask me what's the worst job I've ever seen. I can tell you loads of jobs. The worst ones is normally speaking to parents and families, because that lives with me. You know, I'm not as tough as some of these other people. I'll take that with me as long as I live. But I carry on because it's a job I like. So I think I'm just here to support this. And just one thing is, I always get asked, where's a safe place to be stabbed? There is no safe place to be stabbed. So that's what I'm here for as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Just give me a round of applause, please. Right. You've been invited here on purpose, okay? Because some of you from childcare, you're from public services, and obviously we've got the media as well, okay? These professional people, okay, are here for you, right? You've got an opportunity, right, to ask them some questions, all right? What we're going to do right now, we're just going to show you a video clip.
Right. For the mystery prize, what are the consequences of carrying a knife? See, it's not just the fact you could be facing jail time. You want a future for yourself. You want to go to college, get that apprenticeship, a job, family, holidays in Florida. Forget it. Well, and here's a fun wee fact for you. Do you know if you carry a knife, you're more likely to get stabbed yourself?
I've organised this, or tried to organise this for over a year, and got my manager to finally agree to get me to do this, because you'll hear me say that the most important thing in this event now is for you young people, okay, to understand and to be safe, okay? Not just about knife crime, but in crime in general, okay? So basically what I want you to do is to, if you've got any worries or anything that you want to say, don't be afraid, just put your hand up and then just ask a question. So I'm going to start off with asking Byron, okay, about your brother, okay, what was your feel? How did it affect you and your family when obviously that happened to your brother?
Yeah, obviously the second time he was stabbed, when I saw his dead body, I actually went home and I tried to kill myself. I had a knife to my arm, and then fate so happened to be I had a friend who hadn't seen me in a couple of years, and he heard that my brother had been killed, and he looked through the window and I was just about to do it, and I've written a note and stuff. I've got PTSD as well, so sorry if I get a bit emotional. And he kicked my door through and stopped me doing it. So that's one thing that I found out recently, that I suffer with, PTSD. And the thing is with that is, I don't know, it's like sneaks up on you. So sometimes I can't sleep. A lot of the times I can't sleep. I've lost so many relationships. It's unbelievable. Drug abuse, alcohol abuse, addicted to the gym, which was a good thing because that gave me my passion. It kept me on the right track. But then comes with it being addicted to gym. I push family aside, friends aside, all just for, to make myself feel better. And then my mum as well. My mum, she just doesn't smile no more, ever, literally. My brother left a son behind as well, a little boy called Taylor. It's like a blessing but a curse, because when you grow up and he says to me play Xbox. I go, did you used to play Xbox? And my daddy, and I said, no, I used to play PlayStation. When pads had wires on them. you know, in the 90s and stuff like that. It's just not nice, you know, it lives with you forever. And I think one of the worst things I always remember is when, it's not when you see him dead, because I've seen him dying before, so I was used to it. I become so desensitised when you see someone with 24 knife crime wounds, and part of his leg was hanging off and stuff like that. Believe it or not, it doesn't actually bother me. What bothers me is when I remember just, when you hear someone screaming like Call of Duty or a computer game, right, and this is real, right, your brain doesn't tick a box because you know it's fake. Your brain goes, I know that ain't real when I'm watching this Saw movie or whatever it is, because your brain knows, your brain's very clever. But then when you hear someone scream because they know the end of life is here, it messes with your head, I'm telling you.
Thanks, Byron. Very powerful, all right? It's life, it's true, okay? For Warren, okay, part of working for the police, okay, what are the things that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis involving crime in general, but obviously with knife crime?
I'm going to jump on the back of what Byron said, really. I mean, knife crime, I'll tell you now, Lancashire is a safe place. Okay, we don't have random attacks of knife crime. We do have incidents involving knife crime. Generally, most of them will be domestic related, involving drugs or some alcohol fueled violence. Okay, so be reassured that Lancashire is a safe place. But dealing with knife crime, it's very difficult to deal with. As an officer going to a scene of a knife crime, and Dave will probably back me up here, seeing the injuries and everything else, it's very hard for yourself to deal with, and it's very hard for the family to deal with. As well as being obviously an officer, I'm a family liaison officer as well, so I deal with a lot of the victims' families involved in serious violence. And I have, on many occasions, had to tell families that their sons, daughters, or loved ones have died. And it is very difficult, one for me, and it's very difficult to deal with the families as well, and seeing what effect it has on those people. I've been kicked out of houses before, having to tell people that somebody's died. I've nearly been assaulted before, having to tell somebody that the son has died. And I've been hugged, cried on, and bought presents from dealing with families. So there's a range of emotions involved in dealing with families. And it's also very difficult to deal with the offenders as well. It's very hard to tell an offender's family. So a young lad that's 14, 15-year-old is going to prison for 5 or 6 years. Someone's going to tell the mum and dad that they've been locked up and they're in the cells for knife crime. And it's very, very difficult to deal with these people and get across to them the consequences of what they're getting involved in, especially the younger kids. They don't understand by carrying a knife what the consequences it's going to have on them and the rest of their lives. As it was said at the start, holidays, jobs and everything else, it's far-reaching consequences. It's not just that night.
Thanks, Warren. Right, so anybody in the audience wants to ask a question to any of your panel? Yes? Just 1 second.
It's to the police officer at the end. How do you stop knife crime? Like, literally end it all?
I'll be honest with you, I don't think we'll ever stop it. There will always be people involved in knife crime, and I'm going to put it out there that it's probably due to drugs and alcohol and social media. But at the moment we're working towards tackling it. We're increasing officers' awareness in relation to stop and searches. So we're putting extra officers out on a weekend, and we're legally obviously allowed to do so. We're trying to increase the number of stop and searches to try and detect more people carrying knives. Education is a massive part of it, as Chris said before, Byron. We're getting into the schools. From at the moment, we've probably delivered to about 7,000 kids in the last 4 months to try and educate them into the rights and wrongs of carrying knives.
Anybody else? Any questions? Yeah.
So Byron, did you get the support you needed?
I did, yeah. There's some good someone with the police where we call victim support. And it weren't me who really needed it at the time, because obviously again I went into drugs and alcohol and a 4-year just craziness really. It was my mum that needed it, because like, my mum tried ringing me a few times. Say that, imagine it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I've just come off a bender, suicidal, and your mum rings you and says, I want to die. So what she do, she contact victim support, which are amazing, and they'll come to your house no matter what day, Monday to Sunday, and they basically kept my mum alive. I didn't, they did, because I was too busy doing other bad things like that. But yeah, we did, but I chose to turn a blind eye to it.
The victim support that he talks about, when somebody gets involved in a serious incident or dies, the family will automatically get allocated a family liaison officer through the police. Okay, that family liaison officer, of which I'm one of, will be available 24/7 in theory. Okay, I've had phone calls at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, answered my phone and tipped out because the family I'm involved in, the sons got drunk and he got involved in something in town, and I've tipped out, picked him up and took him home. And the victim support service, called the homicide service or the victim support service, they will allocate your worker, generally 1 or 2 workers that will work with you throughout the whole process, especially through the criminal justice system as well. And they will be there 24/7.
Yeah, okay.
I think, because obviously some of the big things that we introduced in public sector courses, I think it's obviously important about how you support family and victims, but I think the consequence of increased knife crime across the country and other terrorist type attacks, what's happened now for anybody that's going to join emergency services, that emergency services have to take on board that counselling as well. So within service now, certainly from a Lancashire perspective, or Northwest, I work for Northwest, so we cover Manchester, Merseyside, Cumbria and Lancashire. We all now, with our colleagues at the police, the fire and other emergency services, we have trim assessors, so we have to do trauma assessments on our own staff. Our staff are seeing such a different presentation of injuries now from what we used to see. So, you know, for example, I've got a number of staff that went to the Manchester Arena attack. So it's in Manchester. We sent 69 vehicles to that incident, and some of those came from Blackpool. Those staff still today are seeing flashbacks, because although we join an ambulance service, a police service, fire, or any emergency service, join to help people, that's all we do all day, every day. But what we don't expect to see, or didn't expect to see years ago, was that kind of trauma. And so it's important for anybody who wants to join the emergency service that there is support there. We have our own in-house counselling, and we're trying to push that out as well to help victims as well. So the police have victim support, we have our own in-service counsellors, we have counsellors that we lend out to other people, and our own colleagues that need a lot of support.
Does anybody else from public services want a question? Yeah.
This is more for like police, but if like you know conduct a stop and search on like a 14-year-old and you find that they've got a knife, what's like the initial like steps after that? Is it just like instant jail, or what happens?
No, it's not instant jail. When we talk to the kids in schools, we give them the worst case scenario. Potentially you get caught with a knife, you potentially could go to prison for up to 4 years. It's very unlikely on the first instance, especially at 14-year-old, you've never been in trouble with the police before, that you will go to jail. We would work with you ultimately. Okay, you might get arrested that night. Okay, you may not get arrested. You may get taken home and invited to the police station on another day to get interviewed. But ultimately, we would work with you, try and educate you at that early age. The youth offending team will get involved, and we'll try and steer you in the right direction.
Anybody else? Question? Yep. Across.
I've seen a thing on this like company, they made a knife and it wasn't sharp, it was flat. Do you reckon that could help stop knife crime?
You know about the one that's not got the tips on him?
Yeah, that.
It's never going to stop knife crime, like you said. You can never stop knife crime the same as you'll never stop the common cold, because there's always going to be good and bad people no matter what. But it's a prevention, and it's a little bit extra. And I think even if that, let's say that knife saves one person out of the whole planet, isn't it worth it? So yeah, I believe it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think, is that a chef that's backing that?
Yeah, I think so.
I've seen it on the internet. Yeah. They've rounded the tip off of the knife, haven't they? Yeah. I don't know why the other companies haven't picked up on it.
Yeah, exactly. The same as why a knife's still on sale in Tesco for 99p. Knife should be priced at one price and that's it.
Yeah.
But it's just companies don't follow suit. The thing you'll find is with companies, as much as it's not a nice thing to say, is money's money. People's lives are people's lives, and if a company wants to make money, they'll make money over your life. That's just the world we live in.
Okay, any more questions? Yep.
This is for the question for the police officer and the paramedic. What's going through your head when, if you have attended a knife crime incident, what's going through your head personally?
Do you want to first, Dave?
Difficult, really. I think from an ambulance perspective, like I said, we used to do talks before, so I think one of the things is when we're going to where we know there's a knife involved, the first thing to let everyone know is we won't be coming. We'll probably go to an RVP away from the address because we'll need a clear indication that the perpetrator's not there and there's no ongoing incident. So that's something that people don't always understand. So they'll say to me, "Oh, how quick can we get there?" Well, we have a 7-minute response. So for our category 1, which are our most serious cases, it's 7 minutes. So what's going through our head is where's the perpetrator, where's the knife, are our staff going to be in danger? We don't have stab vests, we don't have tasers, we don't have parva spray. We just go in every day into houses hoping and praying that when we get there it's a safe scene. I think most people worry what it's going to be, I think, and they're planning in their head what they're going to do and how they're going to treat the patient. So they don't worry so much about the knife crime, if you will. They worry about what they're going to do for the patient, what's going to be involved, how much blood loss there is. So, interesting fact or not, we don't carry blood, we carry water, saline. So we can replace volume, but we don't replace blood, and blood carries oxygen. The only one that we carry it now on the air ambulance because that goes to the most senior, mainly RTCs or incidents. So there's a whole element of triage that we're looking to. So that's kind of the clinical point. Each person has a different aspect of how many jobs they've been to, what was the job before. So the constant thing, so it's not great, and the after effects on our staff are quite bad at the moment. We're kind of going through some scenarios where a lot of staff are finding it hard to come back to work because it's very busy, as we all are, and those type of incidents, as I said before, and I'm not trying to go, "Oh, that's terrible," they stick with us forever. I can tell you every serious death I've been to, and that's in 32 years I've worked for the ambulance service, and I can tell you nearly every serious death I've been to. I can't tell you all the deaths I've been to, because unfortunately that's the nature of the job, but I can tell you all the bad ones.
I'll just come in there. I don't know if I did the knife crime hashtag Be Safe knife crime presentation, but we did something called Mentimeter, if you remember, and we're given an opportunity to go into it with your mobile phones, and we asked a couple of questions. We're not going to be able to do it today, but I'll just give you a little insight of one particular group. We had 17 in the group, and I asked a question on the Mentimeter, and I said, how many people do you know, how many people in this room know somebody who carries a knife? And out of 17 people, 9 people thought that they did. So if you think about it, everybody talks about London and the knives crime in London. Okay, it's moving over here, even though you like it, you don't. It's one of those things. If you think about it, 17 people that walk down the promenade, approximately 9 people carry a knife. Okay, there's the odds. So this is why we're trying to get you to think safe and be safe. Whatever you do, do not ever attempt to have confrontation with somebody with a knife. Okay, that's one of the things I want you to understand. Also, I want you to go back to what Michael said about being in prison and what it's like. Michael, just tell us, what does an average prison cell look like in terms of the ones that you was in?
The average prison cell is like 7 foot by 12 foot, very minimal, dirty, dark, just a lonely place to be in, you know, with the prison systems as they are at the moment, overpopulated, you know, there's not very much regime, so you're behind your door for, 23 hours a day in some cases.
Do you ever see any remorse? Do you hear people being quite remorseful from the heart, not necessarily because they're locked up for 24 hours a day near as damn it? Is there a lot of remorse in jail?
Yeah, I wouldn't say a lot, but you know, once people have accepted why they're there and what they've done, I owed a lot of remorse for crimes I did. I met some of my victims, and I'd never seen it from that angle. You know, I was just like numb to it. You become like desensitised going through the system, and the life that builds up towards that, desensitised to violence, to harm, to all that stuff. It's just like, when you're around it every day, I suppose like watching a horror movie 24 hours a day, you're not going to be scared after a few years of watching it. So yeah, there is remorse in prison, but it's few and far between. That's just my experience of what I've observed and my personal experience, really.
Right, we're going to move on. Is anybody any more questions before we move on? Yeah? Okay, just 1 second. I'm going to give everybody a chance to ask a question.
I was stabbed when I was 13, and mine was nothing to do with drugs or anything like that. It's just to say how worse is it now compared to, say, 23 years ago?
Sorry, is that for me? I don't honestly know, to be honest with you. 23 years ago, I was only 21-year-old then. Looking back, I don't think we had the issues 21 years ago that we've got now. What can we blame that on? Maybe social media, press, and I think just society in general is changing over the years. I think kids don't have the respect probably that we had 21 years ago, and they're not aware of the consequences, or they weren't afraid of the consequences probably that we were 21 years ago either. Do you want to explain, how did you come to get stabbed? I mean,
I was just walking home with my partner at the time, and a group of, I think it was about 13 lads, started giving us abuse. I was with my friend at the time, so I told my friend to take the girls away from the area. I shouted at the lads and got them to follow me, so they'd leave the girls alone. Went down the alley, and one of them come over, knocked my shoulder out of place, and then stuck a screwdriver in the middle of my back.
random attack then.
Yeah.
Again, I think Dave, you're going to jump in.
I'm not going to tell you how old I was 23 years ago, because I'm probably the oldest on the panel. I think 23 years ago, if we'd have gone to a knife attack, be that screwdriver or whatever, it would have resonated around the stations. People would have said, we would have known about it. I think the change now is that, I was just saying before, on the news, that there's been the 2 murders or 3 murders over the weekend in London. It was just a small section on the news now, 2 murders, and then they moved on to the weather or something. And I think that's what worries me the most. I've got children of my own, and I think 23 years ago it would have been big news. But then equally, I'm still convinced that it's not as bad as it is here. It's, I'm hoping, praying that it's not going to come from London like people are saying. But I think an element of social media must play a big part, because 23 years ago nobody would have known about it. Now it's on social media, everybody knows about everything. So I think sometimes it might have gone on, but certainly not to the extent it is now, and it would have been big news, and we would have, certainly from an ambulance point of view, it would have resonated around all the stations that have been to a stabbing. Now it's just part of the day, it's another job.
I know the numbers as well. From 2018 to 2019, it was roughly 40,000 people who'd gone through A&E. People have been stabbed, that's including deaths in that. And then from 2019 to now, it went up by 4,000, so it's 44,000. But again, that's only people that have gone into A&E. That's not the people that have not gone to A&E. It's not the people that don't want to admit being stabbed, or the people that have actually do commit the offences like you had to yourself, and they've had it happen to them, and they've not gone through the system. So it's 44,000 as we stand today, last year in the country.
Okay, we've got another question.
Sorry, this is up to the whole panel. What advice would you give to any of our learners that know of people who carry knives, and how to deal with that situation if they ever come across that?
I went to a meeting in Manchester Cathedral. I go to all the the victim support ones and the hate crime ones, because I think hate crime, everything's all interlinked, because knife crime is the end of anything. It's not the beginning, it's not the person with a hoodie or the bad person. Knife crime's the end thing. So I think what people don't understand, the one I went to last week, was Crime Stoppers and Fearless. I think a lot of people have still got that stigma that if you see someone with a knife, you're going to get called the dreaded word of grass and stuff like that. But if you ring Crime Stoppers and Fearless, they don't even trace your IP address. They don't do anything. You can ring up I could ring up Crime Stoppers now, say this man's got a knife, and he still wouldn't have a clue it was me. But what you've done there is brought the cycle of guilty by association, because a lot of people again don't understand that even if you're around someone who's committed an offence and you're associated to that person some way, shape or form, even if you don't know that person and you didn't help that victim, you could go to prison. It's as simple as that, and I don't think people understand them two things, that Crime Stoppers and Fearless exist, and that you will go to prison even if you don't help. You know, you have to realise, I think a big thing what people don't realise is social responsibility. No one can keep looking out the window and saying, I hate this country, I hate the police, I hate this, I hate whoever's in charge of Parliament, it's their fault. It's not their fault, because we're the people living on the streets, not them. So if you living in your culture, I'm from a council estate, a rough council estate, and I know this day and age, if I knew a certain lad, especially what I've been through, if I knew some lad were carrying a knife, I'd be straight on blower. Call me a grass all you want, but I know what it's like listening to your mum and your dad wanting to die, you know what I mean? But the weird thing is people only accept that once they've been through the pain. It's backwards. You need to accept it now so you never get to go through the pain. I don't know what you think about the Fearless and the Crime Stoppers, or no one knows they exist.
Yeah, Crime Stoppers is the best. Like I said, you ring them up, you tell them what the job is, that somebody's got a knife or you know a crime's going to be committed. You don't leave your name, your phone number, nothing. You just give them the information and that gets passed on to the police or whoever, and then we can investigate it from there. So yes, there's that word grass, but you're potentially saving somebody's life. And as we said, we have this thing called joint enterprise. So when schools used to go and have these meetings with another school for a fight, if I was going with Warren, and Warren showed me that he was taking a knife with him, and that knife was used in an offence and somebody was killed or seriously injured, because I knew Warren was carrying that knife, I can go to prison for the same length of time as him.
It's the big brother effect that people don't understand. I'd give you an example, right? They couldn't find the last person who killed my brother, right? They couldn't find him. They didn't know where he was, or they couldn't get him. Because when they killed him, they went and burnt the cars out straight away. Do you know how they found him? The number 32 bus. It went down the road. It saw him, a car. It said for sale in it. Something like 10 o'clock in the morning. The same bus drove past that night. The camera that you look at, you put your bus fare in, you show me your bus pass, saw Aaron Graham, that was his name, buying the car that killed my brother. That's how they got him. It's called the big brother effect. You cannot get away with anything nowadays. There are cameras everywhere. There are cameras on your mobile phone. You will get caught. It's as simple as that. So that's why you need to stay away from people who carry knives, period. Because your life's worth more than theirs if they're going to carry a knife, and that's quite frank, but I believe in that.
Just quickly, I've got a message. We're going to show you a video in a minute. It's quite graphic, so if anybody is feeling a bit queasy when they actually watch it, okay, just put your hand up and you can walk out and make sure that we get one of the ECs to have a chat with you, okay? Just want to bring, before I just show it, talking about big news and everything. Young black kid, a guy called Damilola Taylor, was way before he was born, but he was a young kid going to the library, minding his own business, walking down the street, and some young people picked on him, stabbed him in the leg, and he bled to death. Just going to give you a message from David, okay, of how many pints of blood in the body, and how long approximately did it take for somebody to die?
That's a test, isn't it, you know? So, average person, it depends how old you are, if you're in pints, 8 to 10 pints in an average person, or 4.5 to 5 litres of blood that circulates your body. And blood has lots of different properties, and one of the main ones that keeps you alive is carrying oxygen. So if you remember what I said right at the beginning, there is no safe place to be stabbed, and people do ask me that, surprisingly, if I stab somebody, where would be best? There's no way. Your body is a mapwork of veins and arteries, and that's what keeps you alive. So the case that was the young lad that was stabbed in the leg, they severed his femoral artery. So if you look down at your own thigh, no matter what size your thigh is, there's about 1.5 litres, 2 litres of blood circulating there. So once you've severed that femoral artery, that blood then starts pumping, and what happens is without going too deep, there's 4 stages of shock, a bit like playing tennis for numbers, 0 to 15, early first stage, 15 to 32nd, 30 to 43rd, and 40%, and it's all in percentages. So if you start losing 10 to 15% of your blood, you're going to start to struggle to do anything really. Heart rate goes up, your blood pressure. But as it goes further into shock, everything starts to seize up, and your body goes into natural defences, brings blood to the centre to try and look after your heart and your brain. It brings everything in. So is there a time limit? It all depends on the severity, all depends where you've been stabbed. But 2 minutes, you can hemorrhage most of your blood volume, certainly in the femoral artery, carotid artery in your neck. So a lot of these knife attacks aren't necessarily always big knives as well. So we go to incidents where it's small craft knives. So these are centimetre blades, on small blades that people hold in the hand and then just slash across. They're never clean, so that's another thing to think about for a stab wound, that people don't wash the knives before they go out at night and say, look, this is nice and sterile. They stab you with dirty knives, they don't know where they've been. So all that can make a massive impact. 2 minutes maximum, even sooner, because what tends to happen, people panic, they start increasing, adrenaline increases, heart rate increases, and then blood flow starts to start pumping out. So there is no safe place to be stabbed, and certainly in that case, anything in the large, if you do your aorta, which is a central stab wound, you've not long to live. And the problem is, we're not even there. We have a 7-minute response to get to you. You can hemorrhage all your blood volume within a couple of minutes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, guys, as I said, we're going to show you a video now. This is quite graphic, all right? So, as I said, if you feel a little bit queasy, all right, just you can walk out. We'll get somebody to have a chat with you, okay? Okay, thank you.
Yo, bruv, let me use your phone. Yo, bruv, let me use your phone.
Bruv, I'm in a rush, you know.
Bruv,
I'm in a rush,
give me your phone.
Calm down, bro. Calm down.
Calm down. Calm down, bro. What you done? Forget this, I'm gone.
As you can see, I've just been stabbed and robbed for my phone and some petty cash. I guess it's just another senseless murder, right? I don't personally know this guy who's just stabbed me, but I can tell you this about him. He is certain at this point that he'll get away with it. And for the next year, it would appear like he has. But believe me, he won't. Straight after he leaves this scene, he'll go on to sell my phone and spend the cash he's just made with no remorse. His only concern will be to stay low and not get caught. It won't even cross his mind that he's left a mum without a son, 2 children without a dad, and a wife without a husband. You see, he doesn't even value his own life, so he has, or
had no value for mine. He also has no love in his life, so can't even conceive of the idea of the pain this will cause the loved ones in mine. Now, I'm certainly not justifying what he's just done, because he does know what he's done isn't right. He just doesn't see this situation quite like how maybe we would. But he will. Believe me, he will. It's all gonna start going wrong for him in about 6 months from now. Up until this point, he would have forgotten all about me. My picture would have stopped being featured in the newspapers and on the news, and the murder investigation would have come to a dead end. Excuse the pun. But now a different type of problem's gonna start for him. A problem he never bargained for. You see, I will begin to get him to start questioning his sanity. Every time he closes his eyes for more than 3 seconds, he'll see this scene replaying itself over and over. He will see my lifeless face staring at him, my eyes piercing his soul. I will enter his dreams and turn them all into nightmares. He will feel me in the shadows and sense my presence all around him. He will be convinced that he can hear me whispering to him in the silence of the night and during the bustle of the day. Now, not only would this cause him to question his sanity, but it would also cause him to wonder if I'll be there waiting for him in the afterlife. This will continue for about the next 6 months, to the point where he'll be forced to take prescribed as well as recreational drugs to block me from his mind. It will help, but I'll still be there in the midst of his mind, tormenting him. To make matters worse, because of all the drugs, alcohol, and the mental torment, he will start committing more and more reckless, unnecessary crimes. He'll become careless and sloppy, almost as if he wants to get caught. It just so happens that one of the crimes he gets caught for will finally link him to my murder. My murder. Turns out, he'll get sentenced to life in prison, but due to mitigating circumstances, he'll leave after just 18 years. Whilst in prison, the nightmares, inner torment, and sleepless nights will intensify. He would also get into many fights and would end up getting stabbed on several occasions, as well as going on to stab others, which will increase his sentence by another 4 years. In total, he would have spent 22 years in prison. On the plus side though, during the end of his sentence, all the professional help and drug rehabilitation will really work for him. Not only will he come out and feel signs of remorse for what he did, but he will come out and really turn his life around. Although he still won't fully be able to shake off the feeling of guilt he'll carry, or the paranoia that one of the victim's close friends or family will come and eventually find him. 2 years after leaving prison, he'll even meet a beautiful woman and go on to get her pregnant. It is at this stage that he will truly know what it means to be loved and cared for. And he will know what it's like to love and care for a life. 4 weeks later, before his partner's due date, he'll get a phone call to say she's been murdered. Turns out she'll die at the hands of an attacker who stabbed her for the contents of her handbag. Both her and baby will die at the scene. Hearing this news will break him. It will finally dawn on him that we are free to make choices in this world, but we are never, never free from the consequences of the choices we make. It will take losing someone so dear to him to fully understand and appreciate the value of life. On the plus side though, through his story, he will go on to mentor lots of teenage boys in his community and will quite possibly prevent hundreds from making the same choices he did. Despite his efforts, he will never fully recover from this. At nights, he will be the man that can be heard screaming and crying in his sleep. But for now though, he doesn't know any of this is in store for him. He has no idea how this one act will have such an impact on his life forever. Now please excuse me while I get acquainted with the afterlife.
Just want you to just have a quick look at the facts that you need to know, okay, about possessing a knife, prison sentence. If you stab somebody and they die, they face a life sentence. And even if you're not, and the person who does it, and if somebody is injured or killed by a knife, in your presence, you could be sent to prison for murder, which obviously Chris has already told you about. So quite hard-hitting video, okay, but basically the emphasis of this, okay, is be safe, all right? Keep yourself safe, keep your family safe. Make sure that you don't get into something that you can't get out of, okay? And this is one of the reasons why we've got the professionals panel here, okay, to tell you about what they've experienced themselves. And it's not about just putting a PowerPoint presentation up and then everything's okay. So I hope that sort of sticks in your mind. Has anybody got any questions before we finish? Just 1 second.
For the ex-convicts, what's the worst thing that happened to you while you was in prison involving knives?
I've had knives pulled on me. I've been stabbed in the leg when I was out of prison, but I've witnessed some horrific stuff. You know, people getting opened up all over, and that still haunts me. You know what I mean? It's like, and I had no like emotional attachment to these people. They wasn't family. They were just acquaintances. And it was really petty stuff, you know, they like scarred for life, either facially or bodily or, you know, internal bleeding and stuff. And it happens over really, we're looking back in hindsight, really petty stuff. You know, I've seen it happen over a bit of drugs or a smoke, you know, a roll up, or somebody just looking at somebody in the wrong way. But the worst thing personally that happened to me was knives were pulled on me to be robbed, and in that moment I thought I'm going to lose my life because the people that did it was in there for murder. Like they just said, you know, when they're doing 30 years, you know, I knew these lads have got big wrecks. They got nothing to lose. You know, they're early in on a life sentence. They're in your pad. There's no cameras on you. I truly knew what it felt like to be vulnerable in that moment. That's probably the worst thing.
A couple more questions before we finish.
It's to the police officer again. Is it true that you can get ID'd by buying knives?
Is in checked for ID by the shops, you mean, or?
Just any shops?
Yeah, you can't buy a knife in a shop, but the shop shouldn't sell you a knife if you're under 18. We do check the shops. We regularly do test purchasing, so we'll take kids into shops that are under 18 and we'll ask them to buy knives on our behalf. And if shops do sell them, then we will prosecute the shops. Yeah, obviously that goes for the internet as well. You can't order specific weapons over the internet. We do monitor stuff that comes through from certain parts of the world. Things that are bought off sites like wish.com and what have you. We do intercept them parcels as they come through the airports. I think back end of last year, November, December, we intercepted 28 parcels that were bound for Lancashire that had swords, knives, knuckle dusters and things like that. And we will prosecute if they constantly do it.
Any more questions? Yep.
this for the police. Do you think you're doing enough to stop knife crime?
I think we're doing the best we can at the moment. We could always, I think anybody could turn around and say we could always do a little bit more. But with the resources we've got, I think we're doing our best at the moment, yeah.
Okay, guys. Wow, this hour has just gone so quickly. What we're going to do right now, as much as I am passionate about working with young people and making sure that we get things like this, okay, an opportunity for you guys to voice your opinions, what I'm going to do, I'm going to introduce you to Byron, is obviously passionate about this. He goes around all around the country. He's working with the police, has been on TV, etc., etc., and he's a very, very talented rapper as well. Okay, so put your hands together for Byron.
Is this mic on?
Let me see this. I'll be dead. I hope you can forgive me. I pray for your happiness. Whatever swan you're on, you want to do, you have my love and my blessing. I'm sorry this only came clear to me now that I'm dying, but our life rolls out. The only people that don't look back with regret are idiots and psychopaths. I got a lifetime of regrets.
Yo, this world we're living in is so messed up. This one is dedicated to anyone that's ever feeling lost. No matter what you do, please never be giving up. Even when you're trying your best, but it ain't good enough. If I can do it, then so can you. Cause love is only lost if you believe it is, you know it's true. Just know I love you, dude. Wake up every single morning, put that smile on your face so we can see you through. This pain is real, this pain is cruel. And no matter what I do, I can't escape the way you made me feel. So RIP to anybody we've lost. There's no now that you're gone, there's no medication that can help me heal. Forget the suicide, what's the point in living if the only thing you're living for the feeling that you wanna die? Listen to every single word that I say. Know if I can do it every single day, then you just gotta try. Cause I don't wanna see you cry, no. Never blame yourself for anything that made me die. Yeah, do anything to take the pain you feel inside. Yeah, do anything to be alive like Johnny 5. In heaven on repeat, I watch you die. Let me clarify, you only live once. To do anything you've gotta do to flourish like a butterfly. It's not your time to die, it's not your time to say bye. Oh no, it's not your time to say bye.
Sorry this only came clear to me now that I'm dying, but our life rolls out.
Oh
the only people that don't look back with regret are
it's not your
idiots
time
and
to say
psychopaths.
bye. Oh no, it's not your time to die. Cause I've been waiting on the other side, laughing on computer games, hit reviving up that you can press restart and save your life. I tell these kids every single day to put down a knife so they can save a life. Cause paracetamol will never take your pain away. I can't contain this pain inside of my body and brain. Cause now you're gone, you got me going insane. I'm gonna deal with this train, cause things will never be the same again. You got me dancing in the rain, trying to wash away the pain. My heart's locked in chains. These kids are killing each other for nothing every single day. I wonder will they ever change. Now I'm haunted every day with this PTSD inside my body and brain. So praying nothing will ever phase. Broken just like a Drake, living in the bad memories inside of my brain. So there's no escape. So I don't wanna see you cry, no. So never blame yourself for anything that made me die. Yeah, I do anything to take the pain you feel inside. Yeah, I do anything to be alive like Johnny 5. In heaven on repeat, I watch you die. Let me clarify, you only live once. To do anything you gotta do to flourish like a butterfly. It's not your time to die, it's not your time to say bye. Thank you.
Okay, guys, once again, put your hands together for Warren, Chris, Michael, Lauren, Byron, and David. Thanks very much, everybody, for coming down. Okay, I hope you got something out of this. Okay, if you need to speak to anybody before you leave, okay, or if you need to speak to an EC, come and see me or any of the EC team, and then we'll get you involved in anything that you're worried about. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. See you later. Bye.